Greetings, my fellow from Love Sovereign Thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Swampy Mango, South Florida. And today's date is Thursday, March 7th, 2019. Yes, I am a little bit mellow today. And I know I published a show earlier today, which actually happened last night. But just fell asleep, no intent. But people out there, thanks for listening. That is great. Alright, well, I'm at Collective Cafe, located at 100 North Federal Highway, Suite C4-3 in the heart of downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's actually east of US 1, and the facility itself is on the corner of Broward Boulevard and Northeast 7th Avenue. Well, today, it looks like couple politicians, both from Florida, one federal, one state representatives, are in a little gun control fetish here. So I want to be talking about that just for fun. You know me, I like to, when it comes to freedom and natural born rights, I do it across the board, and doesn't matter what political party you're in, left, right paradigm, etc. Principles is key to liberty. So, just when I was checking up on the Facebook page along Florida Carry, good folks, I'm a proud member of that organization. Go to floridacarry.org and you could tell them, look the third sent you. Well, this came out yesterday, by the way, by one of my favorite representatives, and I say that ironically. Florida Representative Ted Deutch, H.R. 1263, would register all detachable magazines, semi-auto long guns under the FNFA, which is the National Firearms Act of 1935. Gee, Theodore, would you like to hold my hand too and teach me how to take a dump and be potty trained by your great, highly bald-headed, infested intelligence? So, and this is by Dan Zimmerman from truthaboutguns.com. Well, as it reads here, last month, Representative Ted Deutch, civilian disarmament advocate and Florida man extraordinaire, introduced H.R. 1263 in the U.S. House of Representatives. This bill would amend the Internal Revenue Code to bring any semi-automatic rifle or shotgun that has a capacity to accept a detachable ammunition feeding device under NFA regulation. Translation, if passed into law, and passage in the House seems a sure bet it comes up for a vote. Anyone who owns an AR-15 would have to register it as an NFA item. But wait, there's more. It's not just those scary black weapons of war that Deutch wants to keep track of. Either own a Ruger 1022, register it. Mini 14 or Mini 30, register them. How about that non-frightening Browning BAR hunting rifle? Register it, because if you don't, congratulations, you're a felon. Yes, another victimless crime referendum this little weasel would never, ever get his hands dirty. He's a proud, rhetorical Palmolivist. Remember that commercial Palmolive? He puts his hands in the bowl. That's what Ted Deutch is, a Palmolivist. Okay, you guys, you do what I say. If not, I'm gonna get angry. That is him, the Gino Boy himself, which is a Jew in name only and not being anti-Semitic. And you can read the bill here. This is the important part. Any person who, on the date of this enactment of this act, lawfully owns or possesses a semi-automatic rifle or shotgun as defined in Section 5845A of such code, as amended by this act, that has the capacity to accept a detachable ammunition feed device, as defined in this section, shall not later than 120 days after the date of enactment of this act register the semi-automatic rifle or shotgun in accordance with Section 5841 of such code. Such registration shall become part of the National Firearms Registration and Transfer Record required to be maintained by such section. The prohibition on a possession of an unregistered firearm under Section 5861 of such code shall not apply to possession or such a semi-automatic rifle or shotgun that has the capacity to accept such as a detachable ammunition feeding device on any that is 120 days or less after the enactment of this act. Because do something, because you can't get to confiscation without registration, because guns. Well, I have to say this. He'll make Adolf Hitler extremely proud. I bet you he's a complete illiterate when it comes to the Jewish Firearm Act of 1938, which they took away the firearm from the Jewish people in Germany. How does it feel being a Nazi Jew there, Ted Deutch? Is it you and George Soros both hold hands and have his and his towels? And if you don't like that, I don't care. It doesn't bother me one bit, because you know why? You're nothing more than a treasonous coward, Theodore Deutch. A little twit that you are. The truth of the matter is, my friends, I'm going to read the entire bill, which is nothing more than a sham. And I'm going to be calling him up, laughing at him. And I know he hates my guts, and I don't care. Like it says here, to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to be subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act, any semi-automatic weapon that has the capacity to accept a detachable magazine. Mr. Deutch introduced the following bill, which was referred to Committee on Ways and Means. Bill to amend that the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act. Any semi-automatic rifle has a capacity to accept a detachable magazine. Being enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Short title, Section 1. This act may be cited as the National Firearms Act of 2019. I'm going to have to talk like this, to have that little nasally voice that really attracts all those people with the same monotone, right? Section 2. Semi-automatic rifle with capacity to accept detachable magazine treated as a firearm under National Firearms Act. A. In general, Section 5845, the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, is amended. 1. By striking an 8, subsection 8, a destructive device, and asserting subsection 8, a destructive device, and subsection 9, a semi-automatic rifle or shotgun that has the capacity to accept detachable ammunition feeding device. Okay, so he wants to strike all that. No, actually insert, too. All right, this is how clever he is. Well, I'm an attorney. I know more than you. Oh, we'll continue on here. Subsection 2, by adding at the end of the following the term detachable ammunition feeding device means an ammunition feeding device that can be removed from a firearm without disassembly of the firearm action. The term ammunition feeding device means a magazine, belt, drum, feed strip, or similar device, but that does not include an attached tubular device, which is only capable of operating with 22 caliber rim-fire ammunition. The term semi-automatic rifle or shotgun means any repeating rifle or shotgun which utilizes a portion of the energy of a firing cartridge to extract the firing cartridge case in the chamber the next round, which requires a separate pull of the trigger to fire each cartridge. Acceptability, which is subsection B, any person who, on the date and enactment of this act, lawfully owns or possesses a semi-automatic rifle or shotgun as defined in section 5845A of such code as amended by this act that has the capacity to accept a detachable ammunition feeding device as defined in such section shall not later than 120 days after the date of the enactment of this act register the semi-automatic rifle or shotgun in accordance with Section 5841 of such code. Such registration shall become part of the National Firearms Registration and transfer record required to be maintained by such section. The prohibition on possession of an unregistered firearm under Section 5861 of such code shall not apply to possession of such a semi-automatic rifle or shotgun that has the capacity to accept such a detachable ammunition feeding device on any day that is 120 days less after the enactment of this act. C. Authorization of appropriation. They are authorized to be appropriated under the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, Explosives. Such sums are necessary to carry out this act. Yay! I want him to let me Think for me, Theodore Deutch. This is why, my friends, this typical treasonous fool is not more than a Bill of Rights illiterate, because we could say it could violate the Second Amendment, plus the Fourth, and the Fifth, and the Ninth. Enumeration Act of the Constitution, certain rights. We could use that. And solution, the 10th Amendment. Powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Yes, and he don't want you to know that. He believes because he is smarter than you and his little minions and spreading his butt cheeks to AIPAC, he'll get more respect. Yeah, I'm a little bit critical. I'm trying to be too egregious. I'm just being a little symbolic on an individual like him. It tells you how much I have love for this man. I hate what he stands for. I don't wish the man any ill. But he is the enemy of freedom. Because I remember he support the BDS, anti-BDS bill. He goes, I support free speech. However, as long as I have to be if it's something anti-Semitic, so he supports the bill. So it proves one thing: he hates freedom. He despises our Bill of Rights culture. He is a treasonous douchebag. Yes, I am not afraid to call out this man, and I don't care. I called him a good amount of times. I sent him letters, and all I got is toilet paper rhetoric response. Which, hey, you know what? Hopefully I can meet him and I can give him a bar of Palmolive soap for his so-called superb achievements, okay? And we should go out there, that's in that particular district, send him a bar of Palmolive soap, okay? Call him a Palmolivist congressman. The truth really hurts to all you people that support this pathetic little clown. Yes, and because if you support him, you just announced your Declaration of Dependency. Government, will you please hold my hand and guide me to the pit? Because I don't know how to get there. The pit of hell, that is. All right. Speaking of another bill from another clown, Florida Senate bill would trim CCW valid time at proficiency requirement. It's from the Liberty Park Press. Came out today by Dave Workman. And as it reads here, just as anti-gun Democrats in Washington legislatures are pushing a new training requirement bill for concealed pistol license holders, another Democrat in Florida has introduced legislation that would reduce the number of years that states' concealed firearms licenses would be valid and add a proficiency requirement. Senate Bill 1122, sponsored by Democrat Senator Jason W.P. Pizzo of Miami-Dade, would trim the years from 7 to 4 that a Florida CFL would be effective while leaving the fee unchanged. How nice of him. How kind, right? Less is the new more apparently. In addition to new language in the measure that will require the persons who complete an instructional course pursuant shall demonstrate their proficiency, safety, handling, and discharging a firearm. The completion of a course firearm proficiency demonstration with a minimum score of 70%. What the hell? Twilight Zone here. Like people out there that own those, that carry and have those that train for those concealed weapons persons. That's not good enough according to him. Well, I will continue on here. The proposed course of fires involve multiple shots from specific distance and relays, all in a matter of seconds. While the course of fire may not be seen daunting to a frequent action pistol competitor, it might be inherently discriminatory to older citizens whose reflexes might be slower. Oh, wow. Without you, I would be clueless, right? Please. Florida has far access of 1 million active CFLs, including many held by non-residents living in other states. It is unlike legislation now in Washington, legislation that, the first time since concealed carry licenses were offered in the state back in the 1930s, suddenly requires proof of training. Washington State measures to substitute Senate Bill 5174, and the National Rifle Association has already alerted its members in the state to contact the state senators to oppose the bill. Yeah, I'm going to call up the other gentleman, Gary Farmer Jr. Yeah, another freedom-hating sap. He hates the militia too, by the way, because he rather have the police and the state and the military have those particular firearms, but not you, Florida. And I will continue on here. There are nearly 630 active CPLs in Washington State, the second highest number of carrier license state issued by any Western state. Utah is the top of the heap, possibly also because so many non-state residents have obtained them for concealed carry purposes around the country. Washington has never required training, possibly due to the wording of Article 1, Section 24 of the state constitution, which affirms the right of an individual to bear arms in his defense of himself or the state. A right shall not be impaired. And of course, a lot of these firearm owners, will be wise enough to take these training courses on their own free will. We don't need the state to tell us what to do. While proponents of such legislation, they are merely interested in promoting firearm safety. Critics of those new proposed requirements liken to take literacy tests used in the Deep South to prevent blacks from voting. Meanwhile, anti-gun Governor Phil Murphy, a Democrat, has proposed a radical fee hike for hunters and gunners in the state, according to KXW News. He wants to excise taxes on firearms and ammunition sales, a hike from $5 to $100 for a firearm purchase identification card, and the imposition of a $50 fee for a duplicate ID card, which is currently free. He would like to hike the permit to purchase a firearm from the current $2 to $50 and raise fee for a background check $15 to $45. He would like to hike the fee to black bear permit to $100. The story quote Scott Bach, executive director of the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, who contended that Murphy wants to tax gun owners into oblivion. Taken as a whole, such proposals reinforce the notion among gun owners and rights activists that Democrats consider the Second Amendment to be some of the government-regulated privilege rather than a protected right by the state and federal constitutions. Well, that is absolutely true, and this guy is nothing more than a McDouchebag. Exactly. You know how these things are. I say one thing. At least Benedict Arnold has more integrity than all these clowns combined. And the truth of the matter is, my friends, what he wants to do, he wants to make sure that he wants to see everyone defenseless and let the criminals take over and organize crime and have those flags that tread on me to the Garden State. So that's how you gotta look at it, folks. It's plain lunacy to the extreme. That's why I'm always vigilant in these areas. I'm going to add that to it as well about rights and privileges. Article 1. Good grief. Natural born rights, actually, by the way. So, interesting too about the Florida Constitution. I know I've done this enough times. This particular sentiment is actually null and void. So, with all due respect and good faith, we all know about basic rights, Article 1, Section 2, our natural born rights that are inalienable, and of course, it could be considered a post facto law. All right. Even though they're talking about Article 1, Section A about the concealed weapons, remember, a license is a privilege, not a right. I've been saying that for a long time. And the whole thing is considered a prohibited law, post ex facto. It's more bureaucratic. You have someone like Nikki Fried in there now. She's trying to really intimidate people. And I told everyone this: constitutional carry is the great solution in these areas. Of course, in that particular area, for constitutional carry, because the permit is considered a right of privacy under Article 1, Section 23. I did a show on that a while back too, and folks, I would say check it out. And I did okay, and I admit that I did okay, and people appreciate it, which is good. But I'm gonna hit the New Jersey Constitution as well, because I'm gonna add all this to my footnotes as well, so you get folks to really check it out. Let's see. Shit, man, how come I have a problem at times trying to get things transferred here, and hold on here. Beep. Okay, one moment. Do it one more time. Boom. There you go. Bam, boom. Hopefully I'm not stopping here. Okay, great. Yeah, sometimes I have a problem I get too many things happening all at one time, folks, so bear with me here. But I am definitely going to check this out. Interesting here about the New Jersey Constitution. Like it says here, the title, Rights and Privileges. And like it says here, see what he's doing right now. What Governor Murphy's supporting, it actually contradicts Article 1 of the New Jersey Constitution. All persons are free by nature and independent and have certain natural and inalienable rights. Among those are enjoying and defending life and liberty, are acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and the pursuit of obtaining safety and happiness. See, what he's doing is considered unsafe. He's trying to do a form of you could say fascistic or neo-mercantile form of economics in this particular department. And the truth of the matter is, folks, a clown like him, you should toss his ass out, because they do have a recall vote in those areas. And even with these taxes, taxation is theft. So that's why you got to always look at those areas. And like it says here, I consider it treasonous, what he's doing. Article 1, Section 17. I could say that too. And even private property should not be taken for public use without just compensation. All right. Here's Rule 21. This enumeration of rights and privileges shall not be construed to impair or deny others retained by the people. So you can say Article 1, Section 1 and 21 of the Jersey Constitution actually does supersede his taxation on firearms and weapon ammunition, etc. So you know what? Give this clown the big middle finger, because that's my brothers and sisters in the state of New Jersey, because he don't give a damn about you. He's just another control-freak douchebag. Yes, I love saying that to people. Douchebags, bend-over Bobs, tyrannical Uncle Toms, and Angel Mamas. All right, well, next over here is interesting about gun control in Baltimore. This is from a couple articles I'm going to read here from the... from Bearing Arms. They came out today, actually this morning. It says, analyst shows gun control has failed in Baltimore. Let's read here. This is by Patrick Szymanski? No, Tom Knighton, excuse me. Maryland has worked hard to become an anti-gun state, and I wonder why. If you're someone who believes in gun control works in your state, with a violent state like Baltimore, you think you will work to try to stem the tide of violence. However, it hasn't worked. Moreover, now a data analysis has broken down the data regarding violence, specifically gun violence, in the city and compared to other cities as well, using Giffords grades for each. What he found was interesting. There's a link for that too, so think about these sites, they will verify. Baltimore and Washington, D.C. are close in both proximity and population of 614,664 versus 681,170 residents respectively. Violent crime of all types increased by 13% in Baltimore, but decreased by 15% in Washington, D.C. In fact, Washington, D.C. crime decreased across the board. Murders, 60%. Robberies, 25%. And assault, 6%. 1 quarter decrease in robberies is unprecedented. It happened only after the courts required Washington, D.C. to end many of its restrictions on firearms and become a issue jurisdiction for gun permits. Contrast to this, Baltimore, which has seen violent crime continue to rise in all categories by 13%. In Baltimore, crime increases across the board. Murders 8%, robberies 12%, and assaults 13%. Baltimore has 3 times the number of murders as Washington, D.C., and twice as many assaults and robberies. Philadelphia is more than twice the size of Baltimore in population and more than 1.5 times the size in the land area. Yet Baltimore had 26 more murders and comparable of number of robberies and assaults. Philadelphia has Giffords gun grade of a C+. Wow. Baltimore has a Gifford grade for A minus. When Gifford raised the Las Vegas grade from an F to 2017 to a D in 2018, the number of murders in Las Vegas increased by 13% from 158 to 205. When Portland, Oregon has a grade from a C to a C plus, murder rose by 71.4% from 14 to 24%, and it suffered an additional 59 robberies and additional 68 assaults. There is a lot more, and I encourage you to read the whole thing. Please, folks, read the whole thing. It's very interesting. This is just another example how gun control is a complete and total failure. For gun right proponents, this is hardly new. We've known this for some time. However, here are the hard numbers. Oh, I'm sure that any gun crowd will reject this data, just as it rejects any information that disproves their pet theories about the effectiveness of gun control. But that doesn't change reality. An armed society is a polite society, is also a law-abiding one by and large. There are always going to be those who want to prey on the weak. The problem comes from them when their prey has teeth of their own. It changes the whole dynamic, which means they have to change the calculus of going after the weak. It becomes the herd immunity against crime. But anti-gunners don't get it. They'll keep pushing their anti-gun agenda and claim it's about public safety when it's not. What's funny is how many anti-gunners will get outraged over accusations that they're tyrants, but don't understand that it's meant something of a compliment. After all, they're either idiots or dictators in the making. They may be part in their tactics, but I think we give too many of them too much credit. And he's absolutely right on that. And it's interesting, too, because even in Maryland, the police aren't obligated to protect an individual. Sovereign immunity, tort liability. And those are the facts. And even Boston Post-Examiner has a thing about how it makes things safer. So there's a big bill on here. You can read for yourself. Very intriguing about the crime statistics in Baltimore and sister cities. Wow, wow, wow. Well, my friends, like I said, even people in Baltimore should stand up and fight for what's right. You have natural born rights in the Commonwealth. Like I said before, the police aren't obligated to protect you as an individual, so please read this stuff and judge for yourselves. It is so amazing indeed. And I'm going to do one more here pertaining to Maryland. And this is, I think it's very cool. It says here, Maryland Sheriff joins growing number of refusing to enforce gun laws. Came out today by Tom Ninan. There's a rebellion taking place in this country. All over the nation, anti-gun legislators are pushing for the new firearm regulations. They're counting on various police officers to enforce these laws. You know why? Because they're too damn lazy to do it themselves, right? Trusting that the rule of law is all-encompassing. They're banking on people like county sheriffs to blindly follow law and order types, and they'll enforce any law they push. However, a growing number of sheriffs are standing up and declaring that they won't enforce unjust and unconstitutional gun control laws. So far, most of them have been in New Mexico and Washington State, but they exist everywhere. Now, a sheriff from Maryland has joined the number. Wicomico County Sheriff Mike Lewis wants Maryland lawmakers to know he will not comply with any bill that restricts a person's Second Amendment rights. Legislature heard testimony from constituents and public officials due to a hearing on Monday that addressed 19 different bills related to firearms. When speaking to a room of people after testifying, Lewis reiterated his thoughts on these bills. We're going to let them know that we are sick and tired of being penalized for Baltimore City's inability to control crime. Lewis told the room that circulated on social media, if these bills pass, we will not comply. Lewis told Delaware Now on Tuesday that he testified in Annapolis as the sheriff of Wicomico County and as not as a representative for the Maryland's Sheriff's Association, who has not taken positions on any gun-related legislations. Yes, so right there is like some of these sheriff associations, like the ones in Florida, don't want to support these certain agendas that are want to fight against these anti-freedom legislations are nothing more than Uncle Tom's bend-over Bobs. Okay, I say that out of love. Lewis was testifying regarding House Bill 786, which will require a license to purchase any long gun. Currently, the state only requires if you want to buy a handgun. For many, such as Lewis, that's going too far. Yet, that's what some gun control activists have to account for. When they think of opposition, they think of people like the average bearing arms reader who oppose gun control on general principle. However, they have to account those in the middle of the issue, the people who will support some degree of regulation, but have any point they want cross. It sounds like Sheriff Lewis found his point of no return. What the gun grabbers usually do is introduce these incremental changes so that the frog doesn't realize the water is being heated to a boil. When pro-2A supporters realize it, though, you can get a reaction like Sheriff Lewis gave them. However, Lewis commented on how the rest of the state is being punished for Baltimore's inability to combat its crime issue. It's interesting only of how many other states have to deal with that as well. For example, Illinois is rife. What kind of thing as Chicago's crime problem becomes everyone else's. That's how gun control tries to work. Any gunners make it a collective issue for cities that don't have a crime problem. That's just what collectivists do. It doesn't matter what party they're in. Even flip-flop Rick Scott, now that senator from Florida, was governor, which I'm proud I didn't vote for that man twice. I don't believe his hype. And I'll continue on here. Is also why even living in rural areas isn't guaranteed of your gun rights being respected. And that's absolutely correct. And I'm glad Sheriff Lewis is standing up for what's right on this matter, because the truth of the matter is, folks, like I said before, they can't be everywhere, all right? There's no such thing as leaving your eggs in the hands of the governmental delegates. And this was interesting. The imbeciles in Baltimore, Annapolis, and any clown from political clown like to contradict their declaration, Maryland's Declaration of Rights. And it was very intriguing because here's what we got. Folks out here better start reading this too. Even in Maryland, Article 1, that all government of rights originates from the people, not them, the people, is founded in compact only and instituted solely for the good of the whole. And they have at all times the inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish their form of government in such a matter as they may deem expedient. And now we'll continue all the way down here. All the way down here. I think it's number... Sorry about that, folks. I got it right down here. I'm like, oh, shoot. Sorry about that. All right. Let me just look at these areas. I think it's a 32, I believe. Maybe. Sorry about that. I'm just like, Oh, 28. Excuse me. 28. Article 28. That a well-regulated militia is a proper and natural offense of a free government. So you want to make tougher firearm laws. You want to see what they have. That's not a free government. It's a tyrannical one. All right? And of course, it invades the right of privacy as well. And we can go down all the way down to Article 45. This enumeration of rights shall not be contributed to impair or deny others retained by the people. Plain and simple. So you gotta look at it, my friends. That's how you gotta see it. And you know what? It's damn good. And you can speak your mind too. Alright, under Article 40 of the same document. So the people of Maryland gotta let these tyrannical clowns know one thing. They need you more you need them. And that's the damn truth. Without the people of Maryland, Annapolis can turn to crap. Plain and simple. And it's not being arrogant, but addressing this in love and in good faith. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout the social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or send something that's interesting you may want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. Plus, I will leave the footnotes on my Spreaker page, okay? Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance, healthy for the soul, and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.